You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham with another episode for you guys. Free agency just over a week away as we get closer and closer. What are the Bears going to do? Well, on today's show, we're going to talk about 5 quarterbacks the Bears can sign in free agency. Only free agent options on today's show. Quick look at the free agency outlook for the Chicago Bears. Just under $25 million in projected cap space, of course, after cutting Prince Amukamara. Taylor Gabriel freed up some space. I still think cutting Leonard Floyd be a good option, would save an extra $13.2 million. We will see if Chicago decides to do that. But the big question everybody wants to know, will the Bears sign a quarterback? Doesn't necessarily have to be a starter because, hey, Mitch Trubisky's the only quarterback under contract. They got to bring at least one body in, if not 2 or 3, to fill out, training camp, and then obviously carry a backup, if not a third quarterback as well. I don't think Tyler Bray will be in the fold. Maybe Chase Daniel is a backup quarterback option. Don't have him on my list today, but I would not be surprised by that. But obviously Mitch Trubisky, the only quarterback under contract. Free agency does get going on March 18th. Now, some of you are probably going to ask, what about some quarterbacks the Bears can trade for? Already got that video up on the channel today, only focusing on free agency, so no Derek Carr, no Cam Newton. Can sign Dak Prescott. That was more of a tag and trade option there on that video. Also, if you think the draft is the better way to go, I've got that on the channel as well. We got you guys covered all the time here on Chicago Bears Now with the latest news, rumors, draft, free agency coverage. It's all starting to ramp up. We're going to have all of it here on the channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that big red button. YouTube.com/BearsNow is the link. If you are watching on our main chat sports channel, go to that link and then hit subscribe. Okay, let's get into it. Number 5, Blake Bortles. That's right. You guys are probably saying, Blake Bortles, you got to be kidding me. Guys, strictly as a backup option, okay? I'm not saying he comes in here and he challenges Mitch Trubisky, but I think he's probably an upgrade from Chase Daniel at this point. He's younger, he's more mobile, he's got similar attributes in that regard to a Mitch Trubisky, and it's not all bad with Bortles. In 2017, he played well. He took the Jags to the AFC title game. Yeah, that defense was elite, but Bortles did play well in that season in particular. Now, you look at his numbers over his career, about backup quarterback numbers, right? 60% almost completion. It's backup numbers. Yards are fine. Touchdown to interception ratio, it's better than 1-to-1. I think that's an upgrade at the backup position. He's played in a lot of games. He's played in a lot of big games. He's won playoff games. Blake Bortles has done some good things in this league, and you can do a whole lot worse than bringing someone like him to back up Mitch Trubisky. Now, he's obviously a backup option. Do you want Trubisky to be the 2020 starter? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If you do, Blake Bortles isn't the choice for you because I don't think he is a starting caliber quarterback at this point in his career. Now, you might get hit with an ad break. This will be the pinned comment. If you do, scroll on down, answer this question. Do you want Trubisky to be the 2020 starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears? Now, some other free agent options. I'm not going to mention these guys, dive into them too deep because Tom Brady, yeah, he's testing free agency. The Bears don't seem high on his list. He's going to cost a ton. I don't think that's going to be a realistic option. Dak Prescott alluded to it earlier during when I told you guys about our tag and trade video. I don't think that's super likely either because it's either going to be the Cowboys or the Cowboys. They're not going to let him go. It's just a matter of whether or not he gets tagged or not. Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater. Brees is going back to the Saints. We all know that. Bridgewater could be an option. I'm just not super high on him. I think he's going to get a lot more than he probably deserves, quite honestly. I think he benefited from playing under Sean Payton. And then Jameis Winston, we'll see what Tampa does there. I am not interested in him. Next player here, we got Case Keenum, journeyman quarterback, who's carved himself out a really nice career. He's shown the ability that he can win games in this league. Now, I do think he's better suited as a backup at this point, kind of like Blake Bortles, although he's had more success as far as winning and losing. I think he's a guy you bring in, hey, veteran, can play in any system. He's played under a ton of coaches, plus does have some familiarity with this staff. He'd be an excellent backup. And if, hey, Trubisky misses a game or two, he can come in and you don't feel like you're losing that much of a step. I think he's an upgrade from a Chase Daniel. I like Daniel, but I think Case Keenum's a better version of him, can do a couple of different things. You look at his past 4 years. This past year, kind of a part-time starter with the Redskins. They went to Dwayne Haskins. 2017, 2018, though, pretty productive, especially in that magical 2017 season when he stepped in for the injured Sam Bradford and took the Vikings to the NFC title game. Best season of his career. Good, solid player, really good option as Trubisky's backup. Now, who do you think a better backup option is? Case Keenum, Blake Bortles, we've talked about both. Type K for Keenum, type B for Bortles. Keenum's certainly the safer option. Now, he might cost a couple more million than a Bortles would, so keep that in mind. Bortles might be pretty cheap. I don't know what his value is at this point in his career, but you're feeling better if Case Keenum has to play some games for you than Blake Bortles. Now, we'll get into our top 3 here in just a second as we go through our top 5 quarterbacks that the Bears can target in free agency. But first, you got to get this sweet Bears sweatshirt. I found this, guys, with our partners Fanatics. It's 30% off right now. It's a throwback. You see the Super Bowl 20 patch on the side? Yeah. Go celebrate that win in Super Bowl 20 with this sweet. You got the grainy logo. This is a classic throwback. Under $50, 30% off right now. It's not going to last forever. Chatsports.com/Bears3. Link will be in the comments. It'll be down in the description. Go get this sweater today. It is a sweet look. Okay, we get into our top 3 here. Ryan Tannehill. What can you say about this guy? Revitalized his career with Tennessee last season. Now, he is a franchise tag candidate, so if they tag him, they'd have to try and trade for him, which I don't think the Bears would do. The problem here is he's going to cost probably north of $25 million on the open market, and if you're going to pay that much, don't you just try and get in the Tom Brady sweepstakes at that point? I think that's a fair question to ask, but I am intrigued by Ryan Tannehill. What he did last year, very, very impressive. He actually led the NFL in QBR in the time that he played. 10 starts, 70% completion, over 2,700 yards in those 10 starts. And you see taking care of the football, something Trubisky has had problems with in the past. I like Tannehill. I thought he was underrated when he played with Miami. Got a bad rap there. Took them to the playoffs once or twice. AFC title game last year with Tennessee, obviously. And whoever gets brought in as the starter, which if you bring in Tannehill, you're bringing him in to start because you're not paying that type of money to back up Trubisky. You're trying to get the best out of the skill unit. You got Allen Robinson, a true number 1 receiver in the NFL. Anthony Miller's a nice young player. I love David Montgomery. I really think he can be maybe not an all-pro, but a Pro Bowl type of running back in this league. Tariq Cohen has some explosiveness. He can do some different things. We got to maximize these players if you are the Chicago Bears and this offensive coaching staff. And if you're trying to bring in a starting level quarterback, which Ryan Tannehill is, he would start over Trubisky because he's going to cost a lot of money. Now, that's the big question. Should the Bears sign a starting quarterback or a backup quarterback? We've talked about a couple of backup options. We talked about a starting option now in Tannehill. We'll get to another starting option in just a second, but type S for starter, type B for backup. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Phillip Rivers next up here. The reason these are all free agents, but no Chargers logo because they've already decided they're parting ways. There's 0% chance he will play with the Chargers next season. They're going in a different direction. He said recently he wants to play 1, maybe 2 more years. How much is left in the tank? That's what we all got to ask because Phillip Rivers, over the course of his career, has consistently been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Very rarely has he not been one of the 10 best in the league in any single season, but this past season he wasn't a top 10 quarterback. Is the decline here? Has it hit? I think it's a fair question. His numbers on the right, yeah, the volume's there, but 23 touchdowns to 20 picks. 2018, he was an all-pro level. 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. QBR was top 5 in the NFL. Completion percentage was great. He was very, very good. I have a hard time believing he just fell off a cliff this year. I think there are a lot of factors with the Chargers. I still think he can play at a high level for 1 or 2 more years. And if the price is right, 1 or 2 year deal with the Bears, I'm intrigued by that because I think this roster can win right away. Now, here's my question for you guys. Better quarterback for 2020. I'm not talking about the next 5 years, the next decade. I'm talking about for this upcoming season. Type R for Rivers, type T for Trubisky. I think this is a unique situation, too, where you can sell this to Mitch potentially. Hey, we're going to bring in Phillip Rivers on a 1-year, $25 million deal. You're going to take a step back and learn behind a potential Hall of Famer, and then, hey, we'll revamp you for the next season. The Bears can go that option, especially if they opt into Trubisky's 5th year for 2021. So let me know who's the better quarterback for 2020. Type R for Rivers, type T for Trubisky. All right, today's show is brought to you by the internet's #1 sportsbook. That, of course, is BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet to get signed up. Use our promo code NFL120. You can bet on the XFL. You can bet on win totals for the 2020 season and NBA season starting to ramp up. You can bet out on the MVP and title odds. Lakers have jumped up into the top spot after a big weekend, beat the Bucks and Clippers over the weekend. Plus 150 odds, Bucks and Clippers second and third, and then the Celtics down there as well with the Houston Rockets. Those are your top 5 odds as we sit right now. I encourage you to go get signed up at BetDSI again. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code NFL120 to get a 120% deposit bonus. All right, my number one target here in free agency, and I've talked about him a few times, it's Marcus Mariota. And it's not because I think he's better than a Phillip Rivers or a Ryan Tannehill even. Obviously, he got benched for Ryan Tannehill last year, right? But I think he brings in that good combination of A, he's not going to cost as much as these other guys are, and B, Ryan Pace has mentioned he wants to bring in a guy to compete with Mitch Trubisky. I think this is the perfect combination of everything. Price, a guy who's not going to come in and necessarily start, but a guy who's going to push Mitch to his limits. And if Trubisky doesn't play well, boom, Marcus Mariota's ready to play. Similar attributes. They're both mobile. He's played a lot of football. He's been good at times. He hasn't been so good at other times. But I will say this about Mariota. They don't have the offensive weapons outside of Derrick Henry in Tennessee that Chicago has. There's no Allen Robinson on that roster. I think Marcus Mariota would be playing with better skill players in Chicago, and I think, again, he fits that blend of, hey, a guy who can come in, he can start if you need him to, but you can pay him less money, starts out as a backup, and if Trubisky doesn't play well, boom, you plug in Marcus Mariota. What quarterback should the Bears sign in free agency? Again, just over a week away as we approach the March 18th free agency period opening. Let me know. I've gone through a lot of options here. Go ahead and cast your votes down below. Again, these are my 5 targets I would look at if I were the Bears. Bortles and Keenum, obviously backup targets there. Tannehill and Rivers would be starting options. And then Mariota, kind of that in-between guy, right? Again, he can push Trubisky. Maybe he earns a starting job. If he doesn't, he's ready to play. He's experienced. You can plug him in, and he can become maybe your Ryan Tannehill of last year in 2020.